answer yes.
Yes.
Right on. So, American Mary, you guys obviously twins, dead hooker in the trunk, fantastic film by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone who saw it, she saw it before she agreed to do American Mary.
I know, you still did it.
I know, I was going to give that as a, like a low-key gift after we wrapped it. Like, anyways, I also made another movie. And she'd been like, what the fuck? Yeah. Sorry, children. Oh.
Are there children?
Yes. I'll watch my mouth.
But that film, Tristan, kind of made you want to reach out and connect with these two, yeah?
Yeah, that's how I met these two, was they had the screening of Dead Hooker at the Rio Theater in Vancouver, and I went and saw it, and I threw up in the theater watching, in that moment when Jen's eyeball pops out, like, and yeah, I was like, these people are worth knowing. Yeah. It's true, they are.
So, the film, I mean, it seems like you wrote that role specifically for Catherine. Did you guys, was it?
Yes. How many of y'all have seen a movie called Ginger Snaps?
Yay.
That's pretty dope, eh? Everyone else, leave the room. You should have raised your hand anyway. No, just kidding. We were very weird in high school, and one of the things we were called when they were making fun of us was the Fitzgerald sisters, and that was before I had seen Ginger Snaps. And then Jennifer and I saw it, and we're like, oh my god, these girls are the coolest people ever. And every time Catherine did anything, I would watch it and be like, oh my god. And I got pissed off, I'd be like, she didn't kill anybody. She didn't do this, she didn't do that. So when we were doing American Mary, I was like, you know, it'd be so cool. Maybe. And yeah, for some reason she agreed to do it.
Yep, I did. I sure did.
I really thought that was her personality too. I was like, that's her down to a T.
Way to blow my cover. Yeah, I was sent an email like, hey, local twin female director of a movie script, if you get a chance. I was like, yeah, sure, I bet it's great. And I read it like 3 times on my BlackBerry, like, whoa, this is great. And I sent it to my dad, who's been in the film industry for 40 years. I was like, am I crazy or is this fucking awesome? And he's like, yeah, it's awesome. And I was like, okay, I just need one other person to be like, you're not that weird. This is cool. And I was like, okay, done. And then we met like the next day for lunch sushi, and I think that ended at 4 in the morning at a karaoke bar called the Two Parrots.
What was it about playing Mary, that role that stuck out to you immediately?
I mean, it's not all the time that a female character comes across your desk that you don't have to go like, okay, I could do this if I change everything about her and make her 1,000 times better in my own way, as long as they let me do my thing. Mary was there on the page. She was a full, fleshed out person that I knew, I recognized. I saw myself and many other friends of mine reflected in her. And I didn't have to actually do anything except to have Miss Risk teach me how to strip, which was like, tiger, tiger, Little Mermaid.
She was really good.
we found some hidden vodka in the bar that we were shooting at. That helped a little bit. But yeah, that character was so fleshed out and so real and such a quality character, not a quality person necessarily. She really had no redeeming qualities, but a lot of the time, you know, female characters fall into the tropes of this, that, and the other, and like Ginger says, like, you can either be the bitch, the tease, or the slut next door, or whatever, and she was a whole, full person who you still liked, hopefully, even though she really had no redeeming qualities, and wasn't a smiley, pleasant person, which is sort of how I feel on the inside all the time. So yeah, I mean, that's what blew me away about her, and then I met these guys, and I was like, well, I guess I'll still do it.
But a lot of people will be like, Mary was the best. And I'm like, what did she do that was one non-selfish good thing? And they're like, it's because she was so likable, right? Everything she did in the storage locker was likable.
Yeah, 100%.
Tristan, what made you give Beatrice the iconic voice? Because that voice in that character, Jesus.
Jesus had nothing to do with it.
How that came about was I was over at Chez Saska and we were watching Little Shop of Horrors, which is a childhood favorite of all of ours. Yes,
Yes, my God, I'm obsessed.
Oh, so good. So of course that meant singing along to every fucking song.
The only time I've ever had a noise complaint in my apartment. If you follow us
On Instagram, nobody cares if we live or die. Except if Tristan is singing full voice along to Suddenly Seymour, then it's an emergency.
I got that musical theater voice. It likes to carry into the next suite. So we had our like little sing along, and I was like, yeah, Ellen Green. Ellen Green is what I want you to go for. And I was like,
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yes, we are of the same mind. We will do this voice.
say
And then-
doctor, say doctor.
Doctor. It really throws my gynecologist. Especially when I ask them if they see my keys that are up there. I keep missing them.
How do you follow that?
I'll let that one sit a while.
Every time she laughs at that, like 9 kittens die.
She's a beautiful person with a series of increasingly terrible laughs.
That was stage 1.
Oh
It
yeah.
goes to stage like 45.
This is the silent one before it goes. We could just walk out now. That's everything. And scene. I feel I learned a lot about American Mary. What a reunion!
I was never in a high school reunion, so I assume this is what most reunions are like, right?
Yes, just like this.
I want to come back to mine and pretend I created post-it notes with Jen, and they're like, "You want to talk about the movies?" No, we created post-its.
It's the best.
Oh my goodness. So, this is for Catherine Isabel.
Katie.
Katie.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No worries.
Now, you've done a series of horror films, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. Now, as far as the gore in American Mary versus all of your other films, do you ever get squeamish when you're working with it?
No, oh god,
No?
no. No, I didn't think American Mary was particularly gory at all. I did perform a clitorectomy and a nippleectomy.
Yes.
Okay. In
Went to doctor's
my actual dog's vet's office, and I somehow managed to get so awkward and tell him that again every single time I take my dogs in. And he very strongly told me that he'll never rent his vet office out again to another film production. I said, "Oh, that was that movie." I'm like, "Give me my dog back." So no, the gore to me isn't a thing. My mother showed up to surprise me on my 18th birthday doing ginger snaps, and I was literally standing on a tarp being dumped with blood, and she threw up and almost passed out and had to be taken away. She was like, "Surprise!" She was gonna be a doctor, but she faints at the sight of blood. So that was the end. That was the end of that. But no, the gore to me is it's all. My problem is when you're covered in blood and it starts to dry.
Yeah.
It constricts, it gets very sticky, and I start being like, "Fucking panic attack any second!" But if it's not on me, I'm happier. So when I bludgeoned my best friend Sean Amsing to death, the security guard from the storage locker scene, and the scene after we'd already shot, where I show up at the strip club and I'm all dry and pretty, and I'm like, okay, so I kill a guy in this, but I show up after and I'm all dry and pretty, so just a little spritz of blood, just one little spritz. And Jason's like, "Oh yeah, for sure, just a spritz." And then he emptied like a 40-liter can of blood. He's like, "Pump it away." He's like, "Yeah, just a spritz."
But thank God he can't tell math because that image on the poster is dope.
It's so
That is like.
So, sidebar, I was Sean Amsing's best man for his wedding coming up, and I had to organize a fucking bachelor party, which was the worst thing ever. So there's like a text thread of like 16 of my most annoying, stupidest, dumb boyfriends. And every time they said something fucking annoying, I just sent the gif of me bludgeoning Sean. I'm like, that's great. They're like, that's not fair. We don't have gifs of ourselves. Like, two fucking bad boys. Figure it out.
I have to ask Catherine this because Freddy vs. Jason is a very much guilty pleasure of the movie.
Yeah.
And the combination of the two kind of led to your character's demise with the nightmare world and then Jason.
Oh yeah, no, they fought over me. Let's be honest here.
But which team are you? And twins and Kristen, I'm curious too. Are you Team Freddy or Team Jason?
See, I think I'm Team Freddy. When I walked into my trailer the morning of the day that he was going to chase me around the abandoned mental institution boiler room, there was this giant bouquet of flowers in my room. Like, it scared me when I walked in. I was like, oh fuck! And there's an 8x10 black and white headshot of Freddy all dolled up, and it goes, for Katie, my favorite victim, love and death, Freddy, and I just swooned. So I'm Team Freddy. No offense, JJ.
Well, Jennifer and I are doing.
Another Josh, everyone.
Thank you,
my loves. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Blackmail. It's called blackmail.
Hey guys,
Thank you,
for
boys.
coming out.
All of your eyes are going to the ceiling.
Jennifer and I are doing this Western movie called Crimson Creek Massacre, where we're not behind the camera, we're actually in front of the camera, and we're working with Ken Kersinger, who's Jason. And him and us have a little bit of a murdery, weird kind of relationship right now. We play the Good Time Twins.
Of course you do.
We play whores in the Old West. They're a little bloodthirsty.
Of course you do.
So I have to. Besides, Freddy's a pedophile.
It's true. Funny one. Dead kittens everywhere.
It's true. Who likes kids? Anyways, no, please bring your children to me. I'm like Angelica Houston in Witches. Yeah. Bring your children.
Favorite.
I would say Ken Kersinger also, and I'll give you an enjoyable story. As an actor, usually you do something respectful, like say hello to someone when you're about to work with them. I was just sitting by myself reading, what was I reading? No,
Comic
important
books.
detail. Not an important detail to the thing.
So we get around the whole story.
It did. Anyways, we're all whored up in the Old West. We're the best old whores in the Old West. We're into domination. We're a little ahead of our time. And there's a scene where there's not a lot of direction. They're like, you just come over all sexy to Ken, and then you drag him up into the room. And I was like, oh, okay, what's going to happen? He's like, well, I want him to slap you on the ass, but he might not do it. And I was like, it's fine, my ass has been slapped before. So we go over to him, and never met him before, and I like sit in his lap, and I have this move where I bring my hand to see if it's left or right, and I'm like giving him a little squeeze. And then afterwards, I'm like such a whore, and I drag him upstairs, and then I'm like, it's so nice to meet you, Ken. My name's actually Jennifer. I'm a big fan of your work. So I'm Jason, because, you know, and then before he set me on fire, he chokes me. And let's just say we had a good time. Oh my god, and thanks for filming this, Ken. I hope you're blushing.
Oh man, yeah, Freddy's a pedophile, and my inner socialist, social justice warrior really can't let myself be on Team Freddy for that reason. I'm like, dude, no, not cool. And also too, like, let's face it, I'm a fire performer, and I have never actually burned myself performing with fire. The only time I burned myself severely is making fucking taffy, because, you know, fire, but like taffy, ooh, still keeps cooking. So I got a bunch of boiling hot taffy on my hand, and I did the natural reaction to get it off. I wiped it off, which thereby spread it on, making it worse. And like the thing with sugar is it reaches a certain temperature, it keeps cooking, so it kept cooking on my hand. And I literally ran around the kitchen going, ah! And my boss just grabbed my hand and stuck it under cold water, and I regained my like sensibilities. But at that point, I just looked at my hand, I'm like, this looks too much like Freddie. And I'm like, I'm so pretty, don't look at my hands. And then everybody's like, oh, you did that when you were like doing fire stuff, right? I was like, no, I'm just a klutz. And also Jason, because Jason is like the abused, beat up, bullied kid. I was that kid. So it's like, yeah, I'm on your side. I'm like, go get him. Fuck those teenagers. Make me have like you drown like that. Where's the responsibility? It's like, don't they screen these people before they hire them as camp counselors? Like, that's just like bad management, man. So yeah, like, I mean, honestly, his mom should have just like brought a lawsuit, not just stabbed everybody. But I'm on Team Jason.
There you go. Jason Wynn says.
Now Ken's gonna be all like offended and upset with me because I don't love him just as much. Thanks, guys.
The one thing that you guys did too, in my opinion, was kind of resurrect WWE films with See No Evil 2.
Yes! The yes chant is still strong. Daniel Bryan is gaining strength somewhere in Seattle.
He's gonna need it. He's a new father. It's gonna be a lot of work. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm pretty partial. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I root for WWE films, but they made some crappy movies up until season 2.
No comments.
And
But they were looking for something fresh, and they settled on us. We were the first female directors that they ever hired, and then the first directors, period, that they rehired.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, yay feminism. Have any of y'all seen See No Evil 2?
Yeah.
Here's a weird fact. It's more popular than American Mary. I know! Surprising! But a lot of people would see No Evil 2 and see what else did these chicks do, and then they watch American Mary and they're like, I didn't know movies like that existed. On Mary, Catherine is so funny. But it's not a funny movie, obviously, but she's so
It's romantic comedy.
for some people. And I was like, you're either accidentally hilarious or comedic genius. And then I got to know her and I was like, oh my God.
She's just an idiot.
I was like, people don't know. People don't know because she's so funny and it's never the hot girl that's funny. I was like, I want you to play something that's so crazy. And with such a conservative company, the scene that is my favorite thing in the world, bless your soul for doing that scene. You're so fantastic and it's so funny. And Glenn was...
You owe me your fucking soul.
And also, if you look at the screen, Glenn's smiling on the slab. Every take he was smiling, he couldn't stop.
That's so bad for him.
When I went around before, it was like, does everybody feel comfortable? And and then Glenn, I go to Glenn.
And no one asked me that, obviously.
Why would anyone ask
No,
you
never.
that?
No, I never get asked that.
I heard your complaints all the way through up until the point. And then Glenn goes, no, I feel uncomfortable. I was like, oh, he's throwing a little joke in there. And he's like, well, I have 2 daughters that age. It's kind of gross.
Only him.
Only person to ever say Catherine Isabel writing them would be kind of gross.
He's such a sweet man.
He's gonna be a mayor now. Do you think?
Of where?
Oh my God, Tennessee, you did that to a mayor. You did that to a mayor. Now it's like a Kennedy thing. Oh!
Dude, they're gonna use you as like scandal fodder to like throw the election.
When he wins, I'm making a meme and sending it
There's
to
a
him.
gif. There's a gif of like the wiggle. I send that to
There are
people
many.
too.
I'm sorry, does that answer your...
Yeah, no, you got
Roundabout ways.
Mary goes out just in such bad-ass fashion, and Beatrice goes out in such heartbreaking fashion. what was like that kind of process like when you guys knew, okay, no one's going, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, but the contrast between the two throughout the entire movie is very much in play. And Mary is the savage, and Beatrice is the comedic sidekick throughout their entire thing.
Mary's a winter and she's a summer.
That's a great way of putting it, yeah.
I've answered that one before, but I'll answer it really good this time. I will have to have Sylvia say why she had to kill them so horribly. We cut down Beatrice's death scene because actually it pans over her and, it pans across the floor and drags there, and it's just kind of her silhouette, choked, dying, breathing, and we see her die. But we wanted to give the audience the hope, if you have any hope in your life, at that point in American Mary. Like, maybe you can lie to yourself and be like, oh, but she was probably fine after that.
She's fine.
She just needs more reconstructive surgery. She's good for that.
She'll walk it off.
I don't like happy endings because I think they misrepresent the world that we live in. I think that it's really weird that we tell children everything's always going to be happy, a prince is going to come save you, and you're going to find a castle. That's not reality. American Mary, to me, is reality. You have no choices. You end up making worse choices. You're like, okay, cool, death would be awesome at this point, and then you're like, fuck it. For Mary, there was this one insert shot that we didn't quite get, but when I could talk about the ending because it's American Mary reunion, they all know, right? Yeah, okay. I think we've already given it away by now. She leans over, she rips his throat out, and then he bleeds to death, and he rolls over in a little ball, and I don't know if you've seen the beautiful picture of Catherine's like stabbed, and she's all like sprayed out, and then he's like in a ball in the background. To me, that was my favorite. I was like, she didn't get much of a choice how she did anything in her life, but she knew how she was going to go out, not by this little fucking bitch, and she was going to sew herself. She could have picked her cell phone up, but at that point, she was so far down fuck it street, she was like, is she gonna leave with that douchebag Billy? I'm like, whoa, great. Let's go to LA. But to make and some people come over to me and they're like, why didn't she leave with Billy? I was like, what movie did you watch?
Yeah, no.
What would they have done? How long
She
ago
lived
did
at the end. Oh, really? No.
No, thank you.
So, as far as reception between Canada, your homeland, and the United States, with American Mary in particular, over the years this has come up in topic, but what is the major difference between Canada's perception of your film and the United States' perception of your film? Like, as far as your feedback?
We don't do a lot of Canada stuff, really.
I'm actually
America's hat.
I'm actually doing my our first Canadian thing, but our first big reception was the UK actually.
Yeah, definitely.
UK was
they get
first.
it, man.
Yeah,
they get it.
They did a bunch of like TV spots for Dead Hooker in a Trunk and put us on the horror channel, so we were on TV. So by the time we did American Mary, they're like, "Oh, it's the Dead Hooker twins," and I was like, "What? How?" And then US first, and then Canada almost felt like begrudgingly, like, because it's never had a good history of supporting genre filmmakers, because it's a lot of niceness and like, I mean, like, it's hard to do support like a Cronenberg Fly thing if you don't get it right away, right? But we're remaking Cronenberg's Rabid, and it's with Telefilm, and I actually have notes from the Canadian government on my script, which I want it to be directly from Justin Trudeau. I want him to kayak over and deliver them.
Preferably shirtless.
Sylvia, you've already made the point here. You don't really need this point again. Okay. And one more murder, cool, right? I will say that in Canada, I have zero fame or anything. Nobody gives a shit.
No one
like,
fucking cares.
No one cares in Canada, and people care slightly
Oh,
more.
except in Alberta.
What?
Oh yeah, I'm so fucking famous in Alberta, it's not even funny. I can't walk down the street. Like small towns in the prairies, man.
We're going to Alberta, guys.
Yeah,
We're going to
seriously.
Alberta.
Let's all go to Alberta.
Province by province, Isabel, you'll get them all.
Yeah, seriously, one by one.
I would say our biggest, like in the UK, I tried to explain to my parents, you gotta come to the UK, like they camp out outside the hotel. Even though I was like, who are you people and who are you here for? And they're like, you. And I'm like, why? And I'm so Canadian, I'm like, please let me know if you're down here, it's cold.
Do you need a blanket?
Oh gosh, I hope you didn't wait for me. And in Australia, and actually I think in Germany, I think Germany is like our untapped kingdom, because I have, like the stuff I do in films, I have Germans are like, if only you could kill me in your films. And like, I'm not really looking for an actor who's like, no, I want for you to kill me in your films. That's not even like, that's my father's accent, that's not German at all.
Areas.
Again, I really hope that answered your question. So Canada doesn't care. America kind of cares, but out in the
But the
world,
UK really cares.
I heard we're really famous in Japan.
Fuck. I
went to
am dying to be famous in Japan.
One day someone's gonna verify or deny and be like, oh girl, no.
Yeah, but the movie became Dr. Black X or something?
American Dr. X.
American Dr. X, because Dr. X is like a TV series, but you were like the hot girl version of it. And did you ever see the poster? It was yellow and they gave her fishnets. Yeah, it's really
Yeah. I needed to get sluttier. My outfit was too consistent.
Come on, Japan. Can you just like, I don't know, it's a muffin, but if you put frosting on it, then it's a cupcake, right?
Well, I know you guys are super excited to talk to these guys, so let's open it up to some
Yes.
Q&A.
Please.
Does anyone have a question for anybody on the American Mary panel? Yeah, right in the back there.
For Tristan, I'm curious, how long did the makeup take to put on? And then how long were you on set in the makeup? And then how long did it take off?
Because the makeup took 3 hours to put on, 2 Masters Effects artists working at the same time in tandem, like clever little velociraptors that they are. And then I'd go and work with everyone and do my scenes throughout the day, and then it was an hour out of it with both of them getting me out of it as well. But because I had to get there so early to get the makeup on, and then I didn't actually go to set until the makeup was on and the wig was on and the contacts were in, people who were living in Vancouver were like, hey, like, I heard Tristan's going to be on set. When does she actually come to set? And they're like, well, she's been here a lot. And everyone's like, when? They're like, that chick with the Betty Boop thing going on and the sass mouth. You don't recognize the butt tattoos? Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it was a long day, but I mean, I felt really bad for the makeup artist because it's like, as early as I had to be there, they actually had to be there longer than me because they had to set everything up and then clean it after me. So I was just like,
It's basically an 18-hour day for you, plus an hour on either end for them.
yeah, we just live on set. It's fine. It's just like, this is where we live now. Cool.
Thank you.
Right.
Was there anything from the American Mary set that you took home, like after filming that?
I have my scissor necklace. I wanted my green dress and she wouldn't give it to me, that's fine. I also wanted my slutty shoes, she gave me those, that's fine. No, I think the only thing I have is my little scissors necklace that I definitely have the black jacket, but I have white fucking shedding dogs.
Oh.
And so it's that exact fabric that like even just sitting in the closet, all the dog hair just goes like. So I would need like $300 worth of lint rollers to make it wearable to go outside. But it just sits in my closet. That's what it does. I pet it every once in a while. There you are, girl. There you are.
Could you imagine Mary owning dogs? How long did your dogs? Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 green dresses. I have the red scrubs. I have the dress she died in. I have the lampshades. I have her purse. I have
the X-ray lampshades.
Yeah.
I specifically asked for one of those.
I have all of them. I have the medical tools. I had to stop bringing them with me.
Oh, she had the doctor bag.
The doctor bag.
Which weighed by itself without anything in it like 25 pounds. I was like, you gotta stop hauling this fucking thing around the world.
I thought I was like guerrilla marketing, because when we started, Jen and I would be hired as identical twins by different corporations. So they'd be like, live the brand, you're sexy twins. I'd be like, haha, okay. And so we would like, for a premiere, we showed up in medical bandaging because I was like, I'm selling the brand. I think some people thought we were like, what is going on? It's so much.
It was a lot of confusion all over the world.
I think in 10 years, people will look back and be like, oh, I get what that was intentional. Lady Gaga, bro, be loud when you get here. And then be like, actually, I'm normal too. I've got some meat dresses. I don't know anything. Sylvia has it all.
Yeah. You can at least visit the stuff because it's like, hey, I just want to see the thing.
Oh, I have Paula's nipple, actually. I do have Paula's nipple. And I have my prosthetics when during the Berlin surgery scene. I am the one who gets the surgery, and Sylva's the one who got to make out with the stripper.
Yeah.
I'm lonely.
Too real.
Yeah. I have in my house 2 of Beatrice's faces framed for me from my wonderful directors.
Yes.
One is one of her normal faces, and one is the face she died in. So I'm like, no, see that? Dead. D-E-A-D. Say it along with me. Dead. I also have a lot of Beatrice's clothing because, like, at least 95% of Beatrice's wardrobe is my shit out the closet. Like, Jane, the wardrobe and costume designer, she's just like, oh, just bring some stuff down and we'll have a look and we'll see what there is. And I was like, okay. So I like haul my burlesque shit down there and I was like, all right, let's do this. And she's like, oh, you have a lot of things. And I'm like, yes, I have all of the impractical clothes and like no sensible knickers or anything. So yeah, so we went through all the stuff, and like the red leather jacket was like my aunt's from like the 70s, and like the red glitter bra and the corset, that's all shit I wear on stage anyway. So I was just like, yeah, I can basically cosplay Beatrice, but I think that's being kind of fucking lazy on my part. But I'm also that person who would cosplay myself because I'm like, at least I know I can do this one right.
One thing about American Mary is we didn't have enough money to make a movie like that.
No.
Everybody who came on either did something for free, bought stuff from home. We even stole a day. We didn't return all of our equipment because it was a 15-day shoot, and then we made a 16-day for all our pickups, and we had everybody come in for free and just shot everything, and then we made
But they wanted to, and that hardly ever happens. And these girls are so charismatic and so enthusiastic and inspire such passion in everyone else that the whole crew was like, yeah, fuck it, we're starving to death, we don't care, we'll do a whole day. You need 3 days, we'll do 6 days, I don't give a shit. And that was all due to them being wonderful.
Oh, they were so nice. I was so green back then. Jesus, that was 5-6 years ago? I was pro, though. I was pro. I kept it going. I'm Matt Damon, that Ben Affleck shit. But no, it was a really magical movie. Like, it was so cool. You don't normally get that kind of stuff.
No, the crew was excited. Like, every day the crew, like, you could feel the electricity in the air. They knew that they were making something awesome and interesting and cool. And they don't always get that. It's like, do these fucking commercials, sell this, like, blah, blah, whatever. And they felt like they were part of something special. And, you know, because of you guys being you guys, it blew their minds. And I think they were giving their all for you. And me, because I yelled at them and made them cry.
Let me tell you a crying story. Do you guys know what ADR is? I don't know what the
additional digital recording.
Oh God, I asked a sound guy and he didn't know. Jesus Christ. I won't say what show that was on. Anyways, so Catherine comes in and she's doing ADR for the end of the movie.
If there were Oscars for ADR, by the way, I would win like 5 of them. Really good.
And I got a bunch of like tattoo guys, you know, sound guys. They're all musicians and stuff. And usually, when you have a long period of time, you break up the things because it's hard to match up your breath and your mouth and everything like that. And they're like, Catherine, do you want us to break this up for you? She goes, nah, I'm good. And she starts doing the death scene. And everybody starts crying.
Wait, in ADR studio?
You didn't see this because Buddy.
No, because they're behind. They're in like a separate.
Everybody starts crying. I cry every time. There's a good death. I cry a lot around her, but and then Buddy goes over to me and he's got tears in his eyes. He's got a smoke. And he's like, I need a smoke break, man. And we all go outside. And he's like, man, you just don't see that in here all the time, man. She didn't even need more than one take, man. Did you wonder why everyone was crying and left the room, or that a usual occurrence?
because I was in my own like little booth. And I mean, I could see you through like 5 panes of soundproof glass, and I'm pretty sure I was drinking champagne.
Yeah, because
out of the bottle.
everyone was such a hardcore, like they were dying when you were coming in. They're like, oh my god, what do we get her? Oh my god, what do we get her? And I'm like, if you got her like a bottle of champagne, she'd love it, or whatever she asked for. And they're like, do you think she'll ask for anything? I was like, yeah, maybe. And at one point, as a joke even, they're like, can we get you anything? And you're like, a bottle of pink bubbly. These guys like fire behind them to take off. And they return and they're like, I got it. I'm like, what did you get? And they're like, I got the bubbly.
Like I was fucking joking. But then I drank the whole thing, so.
There's a picture somewhere on my computer.
Yeah,
right when you finish.
I don't think I've ever made anyone cry with ADR before. Thank you for sharing that 5 fucking years later.
Every reunion, maybe I'll have a new story then. That happened?
I just keep forgetting shit anyway, so everything's new to me.
Right there, yeah.
I understood that y'all had like a $2,300 budget for Disney, and then was informed that your mom and dad remortgaged their house. Is that true?
To make American Mary, yes, my family did remortgage the house because when you're in Hollywood, if you can pitch a movie that's like, it's like Saw meets Nightmare at Elm Street, that's great. Because it's one thing that made money meets another thing that made money, and they'll make like love baby money babies. But if you make something like American Mary, and I was pitching it's like Clockwork Orange, like, oh cool, it's like Clockwork Orange. I'm like, no. Like when Clockwork Orange came in and no one knew what it was, and people were like, what the fuck is this? And no one got it. And then years later, people were like, oh, it was so ahead of its time. They're like, nobody wants to be making a movie. No one wants to do that. So we went around and we were trying, to pitch it for the longest time, and we needed an investor. And for our birthday, my parents remortgaged our house to be the first investors in the film. They're the best parents. They never told me to be normal. If you've seen the movie, Dr. Janos, who cuts our arms, that's my dad.
There he is.
And then every time I write anything with animals, my mom's like, don't you hurt that animal. So at the end, when the bird is being taken out away, there's a police officer. That's my mom. She's like, she saves the animal.
Every indie filmmaker after this goes, but the Saska's parents remortgaged their house to finance their film.
Then the parents should reply, you write American Mary, I'll remortgage the house.
Love the movie, obviously. Thanks so much for all you being here. I really do feel it's one of the best horror films of the new millennium. And I also feel it's very European, I think that's pretty obvious. But Takashi Miike, I see audition.
Oh yeah.
What other little secret movies should we be looking for that are in that American Mary?
Definitely American Psycho. Even the title is like an homage to American Mary. I mean, she was a huge inspiration to us. And before we saw her direct anything, we saw her speaking about American Psycho. And it was when in Toronto they're petitioning against it, saying it's sexist. And if you've seen American Psycho, the guys look like the biggest douchewads in the world. And the girls are like the only slightly sensible ones. I mean, yeah, sure, they're hookers that are being murdered, but they got their shit together, And so American Mary, it was supposed to be like American Psycho, and Mary, we wanted a strong female name, and Mary, Mother of God as well. Dead Ringers, obviously, that was the Scrubs scene. as well. Ghostbusters, but you have to go to the credits. Janos was the villain in number 2, and that's like an in-family joke, so that's why my dad was Dr. Janos. And this is really hilarious. I had a doctor named Grant that I never even gave a shit about, like as a pediatrician, whatever. He was not an important person in my life. You know where the story is going. Dr. Alan Grant in my movie is named after Sam Neill, because I think he was one of the great horror guys, but I loved him in Jurassic Park, so that was a little thing to myself. And I think my doctor thinks that I think he molested me. Because we have the same name, and what happens to Dr. Grant, right? Oopsies. So if you become an artist, be really careful with your character names. And then,
No, he's not my doctor, he retired.
You took him out of the
I ruined his career.
I'm done.
When the twins also say, do you feel connected to anyone? Mary, that was, which film was it? Suicide Squad. Or Circle. No, not Suicide Squad. It's a great film.
Margot Robbie says it.
Love film.
Anyone connected to anyone, Mr. J?
And then I'm also really bad at names, so do you remember Billy Walsh, the character from Entourage? Dr. Grant. Billy.
Oh no, Billy.
Oh, and Billy,
Dr. Walsh.
he's called Billy Barker because Hellraiser was a huge inspiration. And right before we made the movie, I met Clive Barker, and I had a one sheet with me, and it was of a Ruby post-surgery, and I was so excited. And I swear the guy is magic. He looks at me and he's like, I've got this image in my head. It's this blonde woman with huge large breasts, but she has no nipples. And I'm like, oh, did you already see it? He's like, no, and I took it out in front of him. And he's like, oh, and I was like, and I named a character after you, Billy Barker, and he's like, is he a bastard? I'm like, yes. And he's like, coach. He's also hot. He's not a lot of things, but he is that. And Clive would definitely approve of that. And then Argento for lighting. I'm just the combined effort of every person I've ever known. I'm just the copy. Nothing's original.
There's actually an American Mary drinking game where it's just like you've got a bingo card and it's all their inspirations, and you have to do a shot and fill out your card. Like, and you can nail all their like little nods to everything and winks while you're watching the movie, and then still not be completely shit-faced to stop doing it by the end of the movie. Then, well, you've won.
Also, I would point out that Breaking Bad ripped off our final shot from American Mary. When they ended their series with our shot, I was like, yeah, it is the perfect shot.
Hey, you're welcome.
You can have it.
We got time for like one more question. Does anyone else have one more right here?
You guys actually, I just found a lot of your like American Mary and stuff like that, so I'm fairly new to everything. Like I just started being a holiday and all that stuff. But I love that. Like I'm sitting there dying laughing at work. We both know nuts.
Bless your heart.
Like, I just kind of curious like how you, like say fairly new, so I just kind of curious like how you ended up in. I always had a fascination with fear. One of my earliest memories is I remember it was really cool if I could find a big spider in my house. And I remember being a tiny, tiny little girl, and it was a family barbecue, and I found a big spider, and I brought it, I remember, because I could see it from POV, and I held it up, and everyone ran screaming away from me. And I didn't understand because it was so little and insignificant, but now I had this effect. I had power. And all my life, everyone was like, nice little girls don't do that. Nice little girls don't do that. I was like, you have fed me to become what this is. I failed forward. I said I was a failed actress so long they let me host Televator. And you know how a director gets a lot of work?
By being a game show host. Why? After American Mary Nobody. And then game show host, it's like, please remake Rabbit. Like, based off, Your Nightmare Begins Now. What the fuck ever can this?
Oh, and you, how did you start?
Oh shit, I was that weird kid that was like, you know, trying to hide in the crawl space and read scary stories to my peers, and so like my friend's mom would open up like the cellar door and there'd be like 8 or 9 7-year-olds all looking at her wild-eyed like, the spell has been broken. And she's just like, okay, back away slowly. But, you know, I always felt more sympathy for monsters than I did for people because I really don't like people that much. But I really like monsters. And most of the monsters you see are monsters or perceived as monsters because, like, people projected their own shit onto them. And I'm like, yeah, that's me too. So I'm more on Team Monsters. And I'm like, I just like to perpetuate more monsters because, you know, hopeful monster is one of my favorite biological terms. It's when a favorable mutation occurs, and it's to the benefit of the species. And I think that I am seeing more hopeful monsters now in this industry, and it pleases me.
And you're in a kids movie.
And I'm in a kids movie.
Aliens ain't my homework.
It's based on the novel by Bruce Coville, and it was one of my favorite authors as a child. Mostly for Jeremy Thatcher Dragon Hatcher, because, you know, dragons. But I was like, aliens, dragons! But also aliens, I mean, aliens are good too, so I am excited to be Madame Pong from the Galactic Federation, which is pretty cool. So if you have a small child, please pick up this book and read it to them, or get them to read it. Tell them the books are fun, because books are. Movies are fun too, but like, if you want to be in movies, you have to read scripts, so yay, literacy.
Catherine, how'd you start?
Oh, I don't watch scary movies. I was sold into acting as a small child, and some people like to see me scream and run away and go, and that's what happened to me. I know.
It's, you know, people too when she runs away from Jacob Goodnight where you're peeing herself. They were like, how far do you want to let her run? And I was like,
So I have no shoes. Oh, I took the whole outfit. Oh, by the way, I'm taking all of my clothes from this. I still have all of it.
Making up for the marriage.
There's still Glenn's shame on my leather skirt in my closet.
Mayor Glenn.
Oh fuck.
Wait, on that note. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time. Tristan, Liz.